All right, I'm back. School lunch and breakfast challenge. So we have a good amount, the same as in the last video where we made the banana cake. But now I'm gonna go ahead and set that banana bar away. And I'm gonna go ahead and use just the bagel, cream cheese, carrot, apple, and milk. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn this into a carrot cake with cream cheese frosting, and we'll get a little moisture from our apple. So let's get started. So into my mug, I'm gonna take my package of baby carrots, and I think I forgot to say I was using the apple juice, but I am gonna use the apple juice and add in a tablespoon of apple juice, okay? And that give it enough liquid so that when I put it in the microwave, I wanna soften these carrots. So I'm gonna take a small piece of paper towel, a napkin, covering it in plastic wrap, and I'm gonna put it in the microwave for 1 minute and 30 seconds. If you have a fresh vegetable setting, you could put it on that. And go ahead after the minute and 30 seconds and check for tenderness. All right, so I told you 1 minute and 30 seconds. This has been 1 minute and 30 seconds. If you have some larger carrots that aren't gonna break up, you might need to put it back in, but just make sure you cover it. And you wanna use your fork to mash it. So we're making a mashed carrot in here. Okay, that's really important. We want to get that broken up as fine as we can. So I mashed up the carrot. I've got carrot mush, basically, is what I want. And the apple juice kind of absorbed in, so it's going to give it some sweetness, so we can back off a little bit on the sugar. To this, we're going to go ahead and add a half of a whole grain bagel. Okay, so just about half. We're going to just estimate it. And we're gonna break it up again, kind of crush it up. So we're gonna fill our measuring cup up. Remember that level measure, putting it on the table, looking at it eye level, so that you get 1/4 of a cup. Pouring that over the top, and just pressing on that again, pushing all of that bagel down to help to saturate it, get it soaking so that it can dissolve. So we're gonna let that sit in the milk. My carrot and my bagel mixture. I'm gonna set that aside while I go ahead and prep my apples. So I am gonna use a box grater. I'm not gonna bother to take the skin off. You can if you want, but I like the skin. It makes it a pretty color inside and good nutrition. Taking the large side of the box grater, we're just gonna go down like I did in the other video and grate all of my apples until I get apple pieces that are grated. Now you're asking why you can't do that with the carrot. You can do that with the carrot. I just did it because they're so small that you wanna watch your hands and be mindful. We're gonna go ahead and grate the whole apple, and it's just a medium-sized lunchbox apple. Watch when you're going down toward your core, that you don't get your core. Okay, but getting a good majority of it. So this is gonna add to the little bit of apple juice that we added in for nice apple flavor, give it some sweetness. So we don't have to use as much sugar in a typical cake. All right, so that got kind of messy, but I'm gonna set that aside. And I'm gonna pull out, don't forget your inside of your box grater, because that's where a lot of the mixture gets stuck inside of it. And for good measure, I'm gonna take my shredded apple and I'm just gonna put that in a 1/4 cup measuring cup. I try not to use too many different measuring cups and spoons just to make this an easy and quick after school lunch item. Okay, utilizing your product. So we fit that apple, shredded apple, into 1/4 cup measure. If you have a little bit more apple, just keep the 1/4 cup. A little less apple is okay. Has been soaking. You can see the bread is quite mushy, which is good. And to that, we're gonna add in our shredded apple. Get all that out of there. Again, using my fork, mixing that in. We are gonna add in a little bit of sugar. So we're gonna add in 1 teaspoon of brown sugar, and I packed it. So that means I pushed it in there, make it nice and tight, so when it comes out, it stays in the shape that it was in. 2 tablespoons of flour and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. So 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. Because cinnamon is really associated with the carrot cake. And it helps give that nice depth of flavor in there. So we're gonna mix that all around. And then one final thing, we are gonna add an egg to this cake so that we make it a batter. So because I have my liquid measuring cup, okay, liquid measuring cup set aside, I'm gonna go ahead and crack this egg right into it. I'm gonna crack it, and I do it into a separate container in case any shell breaks, or if the egg is no good, then I know not to add it in. In addition, I wanna use my other cup to go ahead and break apart this egg. Now, I've mixed the egg so it's nice and creamy. I have a little spatula here, get all that last little bit of egg, and this is 1 large egg. I use large eggs for all my recipes, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stir this together because I want it to become a batter. So I'm gonna make this a batter, get all my good stuff in my mug. I'm gonna microwave this a little bit longer this time. I'm gonna microwave it on 2 minutes, but at about the 1:30 part, I'm gonna just keep an eye on the cake. I might end up opening it up and checking it out. But because the carrot and the apple are in here, it's a denser cake. We're gonna go ahead and keep that in the microwave. So a little trick, I take my thumb, go around the edge just to clean it and make it flat. So now I have a batter in my mug, and I'm gonna put it in the microwave for 2 minutes. Okay, so I had to get this, you kind of missed it, but coming out of the microwave, this has been 2 minutes and it totally kind of souffled up, and the cake got nice and set in the center, pulled away from the edges. So now we want to make our frosting. So I'm going to set this aside. It will collapse just a little bit. Again, I'm going to use my measuring cup because I have it handy, and I rinsed it from my egg, made sure that I washed out my container with soap and water because I did have raw egg in it. And I'm just going to take my softened cream cheese just like I did in the last video. But this time I'm only taking 1 package, and I'm taking 1/2 teaspoon of milk. So I'm just cutting the recipe in half, 1/2 teaspoon of milk. And we're gonna do a tablespoon of the powdered sugar. So powdered sugar again, if you have vanilla, I love vanilla. So definitely utilize your vanilla, but you don't have to. That is usually a premium ingredient. About 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla in here if you wanted to, or a little splash. So we're gonna stir that around, give that a nice frost, make sure that it gets smooth. Decide whether or not you want more sweetness by the powdered sugar. If you wanted a thicker cream cheese frosting, you just leave out the milk. Okay, but I have it a little bit drippy because when you go ahead and break into the cake, you want that to drip right down. All right, so that's nice and smooth. We've got our cake here that looks like a carrot cake, smells like a carrot cake. So we spread our cream cheese frosting on it, and it's all gooey. A pretty quick evening dessert. And you're eating your carrots. You can tell Mom you're eating your carrots. Okay, and so now let's check it out. So we're gonna go ahead and dunk our fork in, bring it up, and we've got that nice golden carrot cake. It's still a little bit wet because we don't want it too dry. It is the microwave, it tends to get gummy with a little bit of cream cheese frosting. School lunch challenge accepted. Smells delicious. It tastes really good. By the way, if you have school lunch raisins, that would be really good in here too. Another challenge done.